to Devil's Den Hockey, and tonight the New Jersey Devils took on the Montreal Canadiens, losing 4-3 in a shootout. Now, this game had a ton of negatives, but I'm going to say this game is, I think, a legitimate game where the Devils can hang their heads high. I really do. I think that there were a lot more positives than negative in tonight's game. Sure, we lost, but we lost against the Montreal Canadiens, a top 3 team in their own division, a team that's going to be in the playoffs that the Devils may run into in years to come. This is a team with guys like Cole Caulfield that have practically 50 goals in a single season. This is a team with Nick Suzuki getting almost 70 assists in a single season. This is a team with Lane Hutson, who's getting 70 points a year. And by the way, Lane Hutson, for those of you who do not know, Lane Hutson is what we all hoped and dreamed that Luke Hughes will eventually become. Because Lane Hutson, mark my words, in 5 years' time, Lane Hutson will go down as one of the best defensive players in the league by the next 5 years. He is an outstanding young talent. That Montreal Canadiens team is full of thriving young talent, and I feel like the Montreal Canadiens are the poster boy for what a rebuild ought to be. And you know what? The Devils should be envious. The Devils should be jealous of the Montreal Canadiens because they are the team that the Devils want to be, with young guys like Caulfield, like Suzuki, like Hudson, like Kapanen, like Slafkovsky. And you know what? The Devils have just as good they have just as good talent on our team, where you've got Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, Luke Hughes, Arseny Gritsuk. These are guys that are Nico Hischier. These are guys that can become and rival the Montreal Canadiens. Now, I said it before in other videos, okay? The Devils versus Canadian games have been my favorite games of the year to watch so far. There was the one especially, it was either early in the year, October, November, where the Devils and the Canadiens went back and forth the entire game. But we're not here to talk about that game. We're here to talk about tonight's game, where the Devils did unfortunately lose. So let's jump into this one period at a time. As we always do, let's get into it. So the first period is a pretty uneventful period. 1 goal is scored, and it's by Montreal. Montreal ends up leading the first period 1-0, and the shots in that first period are 15-9 for the New Jersey Devils, okay? Now, this is a great start for the Devils. They are out shooting, they are overpowering Montreal, but unfortunately, Montreal just gets one of the nicest shots that I've seen from a young kid in a while. This shot is an absolute laser. So Montreal, they get the puck. They're in the offensive zone. They're cycling the puck, and the puck gets put onto, what's his name, Schubel? I don't know what his name is. It's something like that. And in Montreal, this young kid, who before this game had one goal this year, and he puts a laser by Jake Allen, one of the best shots, a shot that you would think would be coming off of a guy like Kucherov or McDavid or Ovechkin's stick. It is an absolute laser, and it just beats Allen basically right below the crossbar. And this puck is shot at such a velocity that it gets shot, and the netting literally bounces the puck out of the net again. Like, it's in and out in less than like 0.2 seconds. It is that fast. It's a laser, and Montreal walks away with the 1-0 lead. Devils out shooting the Montreal Canadiens 15-9. Now the second period gets started, and this is where things get interesting. So Montreal sees that they have a 1-0 lead, and they decide, all right, boys, let's hammer them. And the Devils, they really need to come out strong. Unfortunately for the Devils, they don't. And Montreal puts the pounding down on them, not once, but twice. And the Montreal Canadiens are up 3-0 in the second period. And I know what a lot of Devils fans are thinking, oh, you know, that's probably a wrap. But guess what? It isn't a wrap, because the Devils end up scoring twice in the second period to bring the score to 3-2, and those goals are scored by Dawson Mercer, who gets his 18th of the year to make it 3-1. Timo Meier gets his 18th assist of the year, and Nico Hischier gets the secondary assist for his 36th assist of the year, and the Devils are down 3-1. However, it is Jack Hughes who brings the game within 1 to bring it up to 3-2. Jack Hughes, he scores his 25th of the year. That goal is actually scored shorthanded, so you know what? Great job by the penalty killing unit. And that goal is assisted by Bratt with his 47th of the year and Siegenthaler with his 13th assist of the year. And we go into the third period 3-2. The shots being 10-8 in favor of the Devils. The Devils outshoot the Canadiens in every single period of the game, minus overtime. We'll get to that in a second. Now, third period is where things get interesting, because third period, you want the Devils to, they're down by a goal. They're down by, after being down by 3, after being down 3-0, the game is now 3-2. Your big guys are stepping up. Jack scores again. Hischier gets an assist. Meier gets an assist. You've got your big guys contributing, and you're down by 1, and the Devils, by the end of the third period, tie the game 3-3 on an empty net play. Devils pull the goalie and they score with the man advantage, and that goal is scored by Timo Meier. He gets his 23rd goal of the year, and the game is tied 3-3. Jack Hughes gets his 45th assist of the year, and Dougie Hamilton gets his 23rd assist of the year as well. Jack Hughes, 45 assists in a season where he's only going to be playing about 60 games is bananas. Imagine what could have happened if he had played a full season. This guy would have had like 60 to 70 assists. He would have been Nick Suzuki. He would have been Nick Suzuki with like 70 assists this year. Anyways, game is tied. It's 3-3. Third period ends, and we're going to overtime. Now, this is where things get really interesting, because both the Montreal Canadiens and the New Jersey Devils are such young, fast teams that like to score on the rush. They're fast. They've got speed. They like to take the rush, get in, get a cycle started, and just start ripping shit into the back of the net. Now, overtime, nobody scores, but there was only 3 shots the entirety of overtime. Montreal ends up getting 2 shots on net, and the Devils end up getting 1 shot on net. And overtime ends, and we still have a tie game here. And now we go into the shootout. And of course, New Jersey starts with Paul Cotter. Because why wouldn't you start with Paul Cotter? Why would you not start with Paul Cotter, who has been an absolute shootout wizard all year, that has scored on pretty much every single shootout attempt he's had this year, -1. But tonight, he actually ends up missing. And here's a shootout order, okay? Cotter goes up, he takes a shot on net, he misses. Montreal starts with Caulfield, your almost 50-goal scorer, and of course, he's gonna rip it right past Allen, and the Canadiens are up 1-0 in the shootout. Second shooter for the New Jersey Devils ends up being Jesper Bratt, and the silkiest hands that you've ever seen. He slides a puck in, and the shootout is now 1-1. But who follows Caulfield? Nobody else can follow Caulfield except for Nick Suzuki. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. My bad. I got that wrong. It's Demidov, then it's Suzuki. Demidov ends up going next, and he scores, so now it's 2-1 Montreal. Our third shooter comes up, and it's Jack Hughes who ends up putting it past Montreal, and the shootout attempt is now 2-2 all. Suzuki enters in next, the third shooter. So you've got Caulfield, Demidov, Suzuki. Suzuki comes in. He's coming down with speed. He takes a shot at Allen, and Allen keeps the puck out of the net, and we're going to the 4th round of shots. Interestingly, the Devils decide in this shootout they're going to put in Hamina-Ho. He ends up trying to score on the shootout. He ends up missing. Slavkovsky for Montreal follows up. He misses. And so it's back and forth and back and forth. The fifth shooter the New Jersey Devils end up using is Cody Glass, which I was surprised by. I was surprised they didn't put Timo Meier in this shootout. I was very shocked with him. You know how I was slightly shocked with Glass, but I was super surprised that they did not play Timo Meier in this shootout. Now, I don't know, maybe Timo Meier sucks in a shootout. I'm not a big, Timo Meier person, but hey, did end up working out. Unfortunately, Glass misses the net, and finally, Montreal brings in their final shooter, and it's the young kid Kapanen. He comes in on Allen, rips it. It's in the back of the net, and Montreal wins 4-3 in a shootout. Now again, the Devils lose, but again, this is a game where the Devils are down 3-0, and they come back 3-3 against arguably one of the most consistent teams in the NHL all year. Montreal's been great. And seeing the Devils continue to play with heart and not giving up, not just retreating into a shell the minute it becomes 3-0 is huge. And if you can carry that kind of game, this kind of game, where you're down 3-0 and you drag the game back to 3-3, I think that's the kind of energy, that's the kind of spirit that this New Jersey Devils team needs. And again, we've had games where the Devils are only down by 1 or only down by 2, and they just give up. But in this game, they stayed with it the entire time. They did not give up once. Sure, they lose in a shootout, but you know what? I'm gonna give credit where credit is deserved. I think this is a loss the Devils can be happy about. This is a loss that the Devils can be like, sure, we lost. Sure, we only got a point. Again, points are relevant right now. You're not making the playoffs. It is what it is. But this is a game where the Devils go, you know what? Sure, we lost, but we battled back in every single period. We outshot them every single period. Again, first period, shots were 15-9 for the Devils. Second period, shots were 10-8 for the Devils. Third period, shots were 12-10 for the Devils. So it's not like the Devils gave up and stopped the pressure. They were there the whole game. In fact, if you include the overtime shots, the Devils outshot the Canadiens tonight 38-29. They put up almost 40 shots on net. So you know what? Kudos where kudos is deserved. Credit where credit is earned. I don't think the Devils and Devils fans should not be too upset about this loss. We came, we saw, we fought, we lost. It happens. These are the kind of losses I think the Devils can hold their heads up to have. Now, let's take a look at special teams, because special teams was a big one tonight. So on the power play, the New Jersey Devils only had one opportunity on the power play, and they went 0 for 1. It is what it is. It's one power play. I'm not going to get too upset about it. But the penalty kill against the Montreal Canadiens, I think, is huge. So tonight, the Devils went 4 for 5, or 80% on the penalty kill. And again, this is a power play where you have Suzuki, Caulfield, Slavkovsky, Demidov, Hudson, all on the ice and all gunning for you. That is a wild power play. That is a phenomenal power play. That is the kind of power play that you dream of having. And so the Devils that held them to only 1 goal against on the power play when they had 5 separate opportunities to score. Again, Devils did a great job tonight. And you know what? I don't normally say this. Jack Hughes, I thought had a great defensive game the entire time. I can't tell you how many times I saw Jack Hughes having to fend off 2-on-1s. And Jack played a really good defensive game. I was a little disappointed that wasn't Hischier, because normally that's his role, the defensive forward. But Jack, I think, played incredibly well defensively. Jake Allen, he ended up posting a .897 save percentage. I don't think Jake Allen was horrible tonight, but I also don't think that he played well. The shootout, definitely one of the goals he needed to have. Unfortunately, in regulation, I thought his defense, specifically Dylan, Kovacevic, Siegenthaler, shit the bed in front of Allen constantly. You can say Allen should have had maybe one of those 3 goals. Sure, I'll give that to you. Allen didn't play great, but again, when your defense, shits the bed in front of you, it is what it is. So, on that note, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. Tomorrow night, Easter Sunday, the Devils take on the Montreal Canadiens again tomorrow night. So that's going to be another great game, another fun game. I don't know whether I'll be making a video for tomorrow night, as I am having family over for Easter, so we'll see how that ends up working out. If I make a video, great. If not, for those of you who celebrate Easter, for those of you who celebrate or having family together on Easter, have a great time tomorrow night. And yeah, on that note, guys, take it easy, and I will see you, hopefully, in the next one.